No, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a continuation. And just a few more lines left. He says, وَحَلْ بَكِيُّ وُجُودُ بِلَا إِلَهُ. We said that verse. He says, وَهَلْ خَلَّتِ الْتِبَاقُ السَّبْعَ لَمَا ثَوَى تَحْتَ التُّرَابُ وَقَدْ عَلَاهُ. And were the heavens vacated when he was placed under the earth and the dirt was above him, right? So this is a continuation. For some reason, the feed got interrupted. So this is like the part 2 of it. But he actually mentioned, he says, were the heavens vacated, sort of what I mentioned before, and when he was placed under the earth and the dirt was above him, right? See, it's all fun and dandy to believe in these, when people believe in these superheroes and stuff like that, with the Superman dying and all of that extra stuff. This Marvel world and DC, whatever. We believe it's all fun and dandy with something from your imagination with God gauge you and everything. But this is not a game when you're talking about the Creator himself. It's not a game. Can he be placed in the ground? This is a big fuss with the people of Kalam and the people of philosophy. They argue about whether or not God can be contained. So some of the people, they denied Allah's attributes because they said if you say that he's in the place, then you have to have a body. And if you have the body, you have to have direction. Get all crazy, right? This is what they say. So here it is, you're telling me that if he was dead and he was slain on the cross, as you profess, then that means he can be placed in the ground and dirt was above him. Because they say that he rose on the third day. Right? You see how preponderant, as the more he go with these questions, you see how it start to really make more sense to you. You don't have to be Muslims to understand this basic logical stuff. It's just real logical questions. It's not being harsh. It's not pitting down nobody. It's just something that you will want to know. You telling me God have been murdered, and then you say God can't be murdered. So which one? Then you're telling me, okay, God cannot be murdered, though. If he was overpowered, if he wasn't murdered, was he pleased with the people that did what they did and put him on the cross? Then if you say he wasn't pleased with the people that did the cross, then they overpower him. Can God be overpowered? And then if that was the case, then what happens to the universe and everything else? Who's going to answer our prayers? Who's going to hold up the sky? Who's going to hold up the birds? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? And if so, then that means the heavens was vacated. The heavens was vacated. He says, pay attention now. He says, وَهَلْ خَلَّتْ أَلْوَالِ مِنْ إِلَهٍ يُدَبِّرُهَا قَدْ صُمِّرَتْ يَدَاهُ. And was the universe left without a God to manage it with his hands, while his hands were being knelt down? So that means there was no ilah for this moment. وَكَيْفَ تَخَلَّتِ الْأَمْلَاكُ عَنْهُ بِنَصْرِهِمْ قَدْ سَمَعُوا بَكَاهُ. And why didn't the angels, don't forget about them, right? Why didn't the angels help him when they heard him cry out in pain? Some people still don't even know the function or the purpose of the angels in the first place. They have many roles and many responsibilities, but some people don't even understand them. To this day, not of the non-believers, they give sexes to the angels. And when they make their little pictures and stuff like that, even with the Greek stuff, they got their testicles hanging out and things like that, and they assign sexes to these angels where no one ever told them that. The angels are created from light. There are no sex. There's no male, no female angel. But to them, this is what they have conceived in their own mind. No one sent them down any authority for that. But even so, if God created these angels who's supposed to be supporters, and we know that he sent them down as doing his deed as far as carrying out his orders, and we know that they actually fight war, then why wouldn't they help the Creator when he was being crucified? You see where he's going at with it? Where was the angels at? Why didn't they help him? They're not humans. Why didn't they help when he was crying out in pain? And that's another part there that he poured out, that he was crying out in pain. Okay? وَكَيْفَ أَعْطَاقَ الْخُشْبَاتُ حَمْلَ إِلَهُ وَحَقُّ شَدَّ عَلَى الْقَفَاهُ. And how could any wooden beam hold up a true God while he is being fastened to it? How can something as puny as a wooden beam can hold up the Creator of the universe, of everything? You see how each time he goes in and more it starts to make even more sense? If you was to ask somebody these questions, not get mad, don't overpower them, don't talk down on them, but ask them logical questions. Let's start with number 1. You say Isa is God. He's his son, the Father, the Trinity. This is what you say. And you said he was crucified on the cross, right, for our sins. This is what you say. I just want to know one question. Can God be murdered? That's all I want to know. If you say no, then that just contradicts everything you just said. Then which one is it? Is he God or is he not? Was he Isa or was he not? You see, you can't run around stuff. As Allah Azza wa Jalla used the word فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ, right? So for buhita, he was actually dumbfounded. That's basically what happens. A person becomes dumbfounded, they stuck. Because you can't answer that question. You know, logically it doesn't make sense. But yet and still you're just holding on to it. And this is where they come in with the concept of blind faith. First of all, having faith in the Creator is having faith in the unseen. So really, you technically can't see. Right? But it doesn't mean that you don't have to have rationale because God gave you rationale. That don't make sense. He gave you sense. This is why Allah Jalla wa'ala, He uses multiple different things in the Quran that He calls us to. He calls us to use al-aql, right? Rational proof. He also calls us to look at the ayat, the signs, all right? To look at the heavens, to look at the earth. Use different proofs, right? Revelation, rational, right? All of these different proofs that God calls us to use them because He gave us these faculties. Why wouldn't we use them? He says here, وَكَيْفَ دَنَا حَدِيدُ إِلَهُ حَتَّى يُخَالِطُهُ وَيَلْحَقُهُ وَأَذَاهُ. And could any iron ever be brought to him so that it would be driven inside him and cause him this much pain? And first of all, iron ain't even from this world. Allah sent it down. So any iron can actually nail down the Creator. وَكَيْفَ تَمْكِنَتْ أَيْدِي أَدَاهُ, right? وَطَالَتْ حَيْثُ قَدْ صَفُوا قَفَاهُ. And how could ever his enemies' hands ever reach him so that they could whip him from behind? Would you believe in a Creator that is this weak? Because that's what this is denoting. The fact that this being is allowing himself to be overcome, subdued, whipped, placed on the nails inside him. Could you believe that this one can protect you? Could you? You wouldn't. The more you keep listening to it, the more you just start thinking like, hold on, this can't be God. This can't be God. So it now gets you in the place you need to be. To understand Isa, understanding Isa, that he was human, that he wasn't the Creator. They get you in that place now. You have to recognize that. And if he wasn't God, which we already know from these questions that you can't answer that he wasn't, and if that stands to reason, then you need to know about him. And according to your reports, you don't know nothing about his life from the age of 12 to the age of 33 until when he supposedly came out the temple. So you have a big glitch of his life that's just taken away. You don't know nothing. So if you're telling me something, then now, even from your sources, you're basically telling me that you're making up stuff about his life because you don't know. You got a big chunk from the age of 12 to 33 that you don't know what happened. You see? And now this took place and that took place. Come on. Are we going to make up as we go now? Or are you going to surrender to Allah Azza wa Jalla and respect the fact that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the last and final messenger? And that there is a Quran, and that this Quran tells you about Isa and things that Isa actually did, stuff that actually matters and counts. Are you going to take that? Or are you going to take and make up your own? I put my chances on the Book of Allah, not on my own, because you cannot convince me that what you're saying about him is true. You have no proof or evidence whatsoever, even according to your own sources. Think about it. These are some nice questions, man. You really think about it, some nice questions. You can actually use this to ask your family members. And you don't have to get, I mean, they might get mad at you, but you got to be patient, you know. Some people will lash out against you because once you start to get people thinking, you're waking them up, people will lash out. And you wake up people too fast, you know, like Uncle Mac said, you wake up, even though he used the word Negro, but if you wake up you're a Negro too fast, you know, you become violent. And people are like that, though. That's their trait. They want to stay upon what they were upon. Think about Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wasalam. A lot of these rational proofs he used with the idols. Ibrahim actually used the same proofs pretty much with the idols. What did he do, though? And it was so much hikmah. He was just a young boy. His father was the one who carved the idols. But look what he did. He just went down there and smashed the idols out when they went to their festivities. He used the opportunity. Also, I want to take a jab here. He didn't greet them he didn't give them a customary greeting on their festivals. When they went out to go and enjoy themselves at their festival, he didn't give them a customary greeting. He didn't give them no celebratory, none of that. Actually, he took that time to plot against them. So when they went out, he was taking the time to abolish the very things that they worship. Which shows us now another important point, that we shouldn't be giving into this Christmas stuff in the first place, or any holidays that's not sanctioned by Allah. Take it and be a true muwahid. like Ibrahim was. He went back, smashed the idols, and left the big one unsmashed. Then took the axe that he used to smash the other idols and placed it on the big one. Now look at the hikmah on this. That when they came back, they said, who did this to our aliyah? Right? First of all, these are your gods, right? Who did this to our aliyah? So Ibrahim, they said, we heard of a youth named Ibrahim. So they went and asked Ibrahim, did you do this? He said, no, ask the big one. Fasaluhum. Ask the big one. The one that's not smashed, ask them. So they look within themselves and they realize that you know that the big one can't speak and can't talk. So that ends the whole argument. Then why are you worshiping him? Same thing here. You know that you're saying that Isa's on the cross and etc., etc. Rationally thinking, if he can't defend himself from his enemies, he can't defend himself being nailed in, he can't defend himself being beat in court and being imprisoned and placed and crucified on the cross, then how can he be your God? Do you see what I'm saying? And this is not Isa, by the way, because we know Islamically that Isa wasn't the one placed on the cross. But I'm just saying, if you're saying this, then how can he be your God? This is the rational point that you need to understand. We don't have to beat nobody up. This is a misconception from the Orientalists that they spread and say that Muhammad SAW spread Islam by way of the sword. No, we don't have to force no one. Allah Azza wa Jal says, La ikraha fi din, qad tabayyana rushd min al-ghayy. Allah said there is no compulsion in the religion. We don't have to force no one to become Muslim. The truth going to stand out anyway. Anyone with any proof and sense going to say, well, that can't be God. That's number one. That can't be. That don't make sense. Same thing here. This is why he's asking these questions. He said, وَهَلْ آدَ الْمَسِيحُ إِلَىٰ حَيَاةٍ أَمْ مُحْيِي لَهُ رَبُّ سَوَاهُ. And did this Christ, this Messiah, revive himself? Did he bring himself back to life? Or was there another God that brought him to life? Who revived him? When he died, who brought him back? Who was the cause of that? He was the cause of that? And I know many people are going to say, well, God can do anything he wants. Right? But this negates the fact that God is Al-Alim and Al-Hakim. Do you understand this? Because even though God can do anything he wants, and we know that, it ain't for us to question him. But would he do something irrational that don't make sense? Name me one action of God that you and I is exposed to that didn't have wisdom in it, or didn't have knowledge in it, or didn't have any type of compassion or mercy or anything within it that shows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala capability. Name me one thing. Name me one action of God that was like that. That don't make sense. Humans can do things foolishly, but God can't do nothing. God is not going to do nothing foolishly. It goes against the very definition of him being Al-Hakim. Wise. Why would he do something that is foolish? Why would he do something that is rational? It doesn't make that. You can't say, okay, no, we're going to argue that God did this because he can do it. No, we're not going to do that. He's not going to do nothing foolish. No, he's far above that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not ignorant. As Allah Jalla wa Ala says, your Lord does not what? He does not forget. وَمَا يَنْسَ رَبُّكَ وَلَا ضَلَّ. Nor is your Lord dull. He does not err. Allah negates juhal. Okay? He negates ignorance from himself. So he's not going to do something foolishly just to try to prove his omnipotence and his capability of being the Lord. That doesn't make any sense. He's not going to do that. There was no need for him to come in the form of, first of all, if Musa couldn't see him with his own eyes when he was talking to him, right? And he had to use a burning bush, right? If Muhammad couldn't see him with his own eyes, even in the heavens, right? All right? And then what makes you think that a human body can contain the Creator? Just think. What makes you think the human body can contain the Creator? The Prophet, when he was asked about it, he said it was light upon light. Couldn't see. If you get too close, what? It will actually burn you. You can't even get close to the sun. Let alone you talking about getting close to the Creator. In that capacity, what are you talking about? What being that you think contain the Creator? It doesn't make sense, right? So he says, وَيَا عَجَبًا, and this is عَجَبًا. وَيَا عَجَبًا لِقَبْرِهِمْ رَبًّا وَأَعْجَبَ مِنْهُ بَطْنَ قَدْ حَوَاهُ. And how strange it is that a grave can be enclosed on a god. That's some Greek stuff. See, they'll tell you Zeus and all of these Medusa and all of these different types of people, Eurytus and all this, these different gods, they can die, the god of thunder, Thor, all of these people, they can tell you these different things with this Greek paganism that a god can actually die. You know, we see the different movies. Allah doesn't die. Allah says in the Quran that he's what? فَتَوَكُّ عَلَّى حَيَّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ. Place your trust and your dependence and your reliance upon the one who is ever living. Al-Hayy, la yamut, he doesn't die. Henceforth, Abu Bakr, when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, what did he say that Umar ibn Khattab, because Umar ibn Khattab, he was actually distraught, he was stressed, he was telling anybody that they said that the Prophet ﷺ died, he was going to take him out. Abu Bakr called the people, Ya ayyuhan nas. He says what? Indeed, those who what? Worship Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, faqad Muhammad mat. Whoever worship Allah, they know that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they know that he had died. But whoever worship Al-Hayyul Ladhi la yamut, but whoever worships the one who is ever living, he does not die. You have to understand certain attributes demand certain negations. And this is where most people, wallahi, this is where most people go astray at. Whether they're Christians, whether they're Jews, whether they're atheists, whether they're Muslims, anybody go astray in not understanding Allah's names and his attributes in regards to his that or his actions. That's where people go astray at. You need to understand it. And if you don't arm yourself with the right knowledge in the proper way, and how do you do that? By really understanding his names and attributes, what he said about his names and attributes, what's authentically reported about the Prophet ﷺ, that he got informed from Allah Azza wa Jal about his names and attributes. That's the only way we're going to get it. We're not going to get it by making it up. Henceforth, we can't call him the man upstairs. He's not no man. Actually, that's not even a befitting name to even call him. Yeah, the boss man upstairs, the man upstairs. People use these type of terms with the Creator. Yeah, the big man. Pay attention here. He says, how can a grave close him? He said, even a stranger is the womb that enclosed him before. So it's strange to even think that a grave can actually hold a God. And then on top of that, it's even more stranger to think that someone birthed a God. What do Allah Azza wa Jal says? The people, they ask Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about Allah's genealogy. Where do we come from? Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. These 4 verses. Many of us learned them when we was Muslims, huh? The beginning stages, huh? And you don't even know how powerful that surah is. It's telling you right there, a child that can learn this actual surah and can refute any ideology that comes along like this. Because the first thing the child's going to say, well, Allah says, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allah is one. He don't have to go technical, Allah is one. Then Allah says what? Allahu what? Allahu samad. Everything depends on him, he don't depend on nothing. Then Allah said, lam yulid wa lam yulad. Making it clear that he was not born, nor do he give birth. He was not born, nor do he give birth. Making it clear. He wasn't born from nothing. There's nothing that, he wasn't born. First of all, reproduction didn't come into play until Allah Azza wa Jalla created what he created, because the angels don't reproduce. Do you understand this? The angels don't reproduce. So where do we get this concept from? He says here, أقام هناك تسعا من شهور لدى الظلمات من حيد غذاه. When he remained inside for 9 whole months in utter darkness, being fed by blood. وشق الفرج مولودا صغيرا ضعيفا فاتها لثت فاه. Then he emerged from the womb as a small child, completely helpless, reaching out to be fed. ويأكل ثم يشرب ثم يأتي بلازم ذاك هل هذا إله. Thus he ate, drank, and after he answered the call, which comes naturally. So is this really your God? Allah Azza wa Jalla uses in the Quran, like we mentioned the ayah before, in Surah Ma'idah, that Isa and Maryam both used the bathroom, and they both eat, to negate the fact that this is not Allah. Allah used it to show you that this is not him. He doesn't eat, he doesn't drink, he doesn't need those things. He don't need nothing to sustain him, to give him energy. He doesn't need those things. So we understand that. So he just basically rammed that in, but he's at the end here. He says, Ta'ala Allahu an ifka nasara sayus'alu kullahum amma ftarahu. High exalted is Allah above the lies of the Christians, each of whom will be asked about their fabrications. أعباد الصليب لأي معنى يعظم أو يقبح من رماه. O cross worshippers. So when he started the poem off by saying, O worshippers of the Messiah. Then he ended the poem by saying, O cross worshippers. For what reason is someone exalted for accepting this and blameworthy for rejecting it? So in other words, he's saying, how can I get nobility by believing in something like this that doesn't make sense? All the questions I just posed to you rationally doesn't make sense. Whether I met Muhammad, whether I ever had anything about Islam, or learned anything about Islam, or anything else, rationally it doesn't make sense. So how can I be praised for me following what you're calling me to? I can't follow that. It doesn't make any sense. I won't follow that. That don't make sense. Right? And then on what grounds can you make it blameworthy that I reject you? How? I'm not going to believe in a God that can die. I'm not going to believe in a God that can be crucified. I'm not going to believe in a God that can eat, drink, and I'm not going to believe in that. I'm not going to believe in a God that can be overpowered. I'm not going to believe in a God that can be spanking and beating. I'm not going to believe in that. That doesn't make sense. So if that doesn't make sense, you can't call me into that. So how can I be blameworthy because I reject to follow what you're telling me? Huh? He said, وَهَلْ تَقْدَلَ أُكُولَ بِغَيْرِ كَسْرٍ وَإِحْرَاقُ لَهُ وَلِمَنْ بَغَاهُ. And is it not logical that we should break and burn what humiliated Christ and the one that made it? Now look how deep he goes as far as this. You honor the cross. You wear it around your neck, the Catholics, right? They take the cross and they actually magnify it. One of the things Isa going to do in the hadith, the Prophet said when he come back, he's going to break the cross, right? Some of the scholars say symbolism, but actually he's going to break the cross. The concept of the salib, the cross is going to be broken. But these people, the same very thing that your God, that you say, was crucified on, wouldn't you not want it? Wouldn't you break the cross? Wouldn't you not want to actually, why would you venerate something that held and humiliated your God? That don't make sense, right? He says, إِذَا رَكِبَ إِلَهُ عَلَيْهِ كَرَهَا وَقَدْ شَدَّتَ تَنْسْمِيرْ يَدَاهُ. He says, since you claim that God was forcibly crucified upon it with his hands nailed to it, فَذَاكَ الْمُرَكَّبُ الْمَلْعُونُ حَقًّا. He said, فَدَسَهُ لَا تَصَبُّهُ إِذَا تَرَاهُ. For truly what a cursed cross to carry. Which one should discard instead of kissing when glanced upon? You should actually get rid of it. You shouldn't kiss it when you see it. يُلْهَانُ عَلَيْهِ رَبُّ خَلْقُ تَرًّا وَتَعْبُدُهُ فَإِنَّكَ مِنْ عَدَاهُ. For you claim the Creator was abused upon it, yet you appear to be worshippers of it. So you are one of his enemies. And he ends this nice, man. He says, if you exalt the cross because it carried the Lord of all that exists, and he said, then why don't you also prostrate and exalt to the graves? Because now, look how deep he's going. You take the cross and you place it here because it holds Jesus, right? He said, oh, Isa. And this is your Lord, right? You magnify the cross. Then you said that your Lord was placed and buried, and he was raised up in 3 days, right? This is what you said. Mary Magdalene actually saw him when he came out. He was raised from the cave 3 days, right? This is what the stuff that Paul added in, right? But then you say this, and you take this belief. So if you take this belief and you say that this is true, then how come we don't honor the grave? How come we don't have a grave that we honor as well, like we did with the cross, right? He says, فَهَلَا لِكُبُورِ سَجَّدَتْ تُرْبًا لِدَمِّ الْقَبْرِ رَبِّكَ فِي حَشَاهُ. For it was the grave that held your so-called God in it as well. فَيَا عَبْدَ الْمَسِيحُ أَفْكِفْ بِهَذَا بِدَايَاتِي وَهَذَا مُنْتَهَاهُ. O worshipper of Christ, wake up. For this is what the matter is all about. In other words, at the end, he ended so clear. After he named all of these questions and so forth, we don't have to go back and forth. It just rationally, it doesn't make any sense. And I can't be blameworthy because I don't want to accept it, because it don't make no sense logically for me to follow it. So that's the reason why. So when you're talking to your mom and you're talking to your friends and you're talking to your relatives and your loved ones, don't be harsh towards them. Don't laugh at them. Just explain to them basically logical questions. Be like Ibrahim. Be like what he's saying right here. Ask them logical questions. Can God eat? Can God sleep? Can God drink? Can God be murdered? Can he be killed? Can he be overpowered? Simple questions you can ask. They're going to become frustrated because they ain't going to know what to say. They already know if you catch them saying that he can't, then all they're going to do is resort back to one of the things they're going to say. God can do anything. He's powerful. My Lord can do anything. I'm not going to question him, right? But that doesn't make any sense, because now are you going to negate the fact that God is all-knowing, that he's all-capable, that he's all-wise? Are you going to negate these characteristics, these attributes from him? And that if he's all-wise and he's all-knowing, can we actually associate ignorance to him, foolishness to him, stupidity to him? Can we do that? Can we pit this to him? And if we can't pit those things to him and we're going to negate those things, then it's not wise for you and I, for you to sit here and call me to that. So if you want to understand what I'm saying, then basically once you get them to listen to this, and then they start thinking, trust me, they go back and start thinking in their heads that it doesn't make any sense. So they probably won't even have the conversation with you no more. But as it goes on and they see your character and so forth, they might start asking you questions about the Creator and how to understand the Creator and the proper way of understanding the Creator that lives and does not die, the Creator that isn't ignorant, the Creator that cannot be overcome, The creator cannot be overpowered. The creator who cannot be killed. The creator that does not defecate. The creator that does not urine. The creator that does not eat. The creator that does not drink. That does not sleep. The creator who does not rest. The creator who actually create everything. That everything depends upon him. He depends upon nothing. They can start asking you about those questions, and then you can open up a beautiful dialogue. You don't have to go to their books to open up their books to have a beautiful dialogue. You don't have to study the Bible to start saying them and go back and forth. We don't do that. We're not advised to do that. We don't have to do that. That's not something that we do. The Prophet ﷺ saw Abu Bakr having a copy of the Torah. His face became red. And he said, if Musa was alive today, he would have no choice but to follow what I'm upon. We don't resort back to the Bible to actually have a conversation with anybody. We're going to resort back to the book of Allah, to those verses I mentioned, and there's many more verses in the Quran that deals with and how to teach us how to argue with the best way, inshallah. This is what I wanted to bring, especially during this non-believer festivity or holiday spirit, whatever. We do not greet them. As Ibrahim took the opportunity during their festivities, he actually took the opportunity to eradicate shirk. Let's do the same thing. Let's take the opportunity to educate, to instruct, to keep ourselves away, keep ourselves aloof, and stick and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. And let's use that as a way of doing that and take these beautiful examples of those. And also I wanted to bring something, one at this last, so I'll let all you go real quick. I really want you to understand that there's a difference between Ghurbatul Awtan and his Ghurbatul Deen. All right, Gharibatul Deen. And what I'm talking about is this. There are two types of strangers. You have a stranger when it comes to a country. You know, like a regular stranger, a person who doesn't live here. He's somewhere in a foreign land. This is not his homeland. This is not his residence, so he feel out of place. But then you have a stranger who is a stranger in regards to his deen, that which he practiced, the principles, his belief. He looks strange to other people that is not like him. He could be within a society that called to everything else outside of what he practices, but he will be strange to the people inside that society. That's the intent behind Tuba lil Ghuraba. That's the strangers that the Prophet ﷺ is talking about. As Ibn Qayyim so eloquently put it, and that's where I got it from, where he explains this in his Nuniyah, that's what it's talking about. That's the strangeness that the hadith is talking about. Those who live around individuals and live in a society where their practice and their belief becomes strange to the customs and the norms of others. And they hold on to their practice and their belief, and the more that they hold on to those practices and beliefs and those principles, then the society will look at them even more. They become an oddball, they stick out. Some people will actually speak bad about them. That's that strangeness. And one of the characteristics of their strangers is that they're going to correct that which the people have corrupted. They're going to correct that which the people have corrupted, because that's their duty. You understand? So I'm only saying this to you so that you can let you know. Everything out here that you see in the world is going to continue to get worse. Please, brothers and sisters, hold on to your deen. It's going to continue to get worse, but understand the glad tidings. Paradise is for those who hold on to their deen, even then. So remember the people of the king. That's what I wanted to bring. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.